again, and welcome to today's meditation time. It is an honor to get to close my day out with you, and I hope that you feel the same coming into this community of like-minded people who just need to find a quiet space, a quiet moment, and a chance to reset. And so any places in our lives that have gotten a little bit off or a little out of balance, now is the time that we can come and put it all back how we need it to be. So as you settle in, let's just gently close our eyes and settle into a nice, calming inhale and exhale. Just a good rhythm of a slow breath in and a slow breath out that feels right for you. And as you're breathing, just let go of this day, even if it was a wonderful, an amazing day. Let go of it because it's done. And as you let go, it allows you to arrive to this moment right now. And when each new inhale comes, arrive to that new moment as well. Our meditation practice has so much to teach us. And so I want to take you just on a quick journey through these few minutes that we have today. And it's actually a journey that was my walk in my garden this morning. And so as you are seated where you are, just breathing in, breathing out, really settling into your spot, just use your mind to picture just a typical vegetable garden. Maybe it's one that you've had yourself. Maybe you've just seen one in someone else's yard or on the TV screen. But just picture in your mind what a typical vegetable garden looks like. And I can tell you that is my place of peace and happiness, and having my hands and my feet in the dirt, there's just something almost magical about that space. And I'm very diligent. I water and I tend and I pull weeds and I take care of each plant that I have very lovingly put into the earth, hoping for a harvest of all kinds of good things. But this morning, I walked out and I realized that last night I had not watered. We had this momentary time in the afternoon yesterday when I was sure it was going to rain, and I thought, I'll skip the watering and let the rain take care of it. And the rain never came. And so I looked at my garden, and for the most part, everything still looked great. But my poor spinach leaves were wilted just from the few hours of morning sun that they'd already gotten. And as I sat there and I felt almost guilty for a second about not watering them, it made me think of my meditation practice. And so as you are seated in your spot, wherever you are in your home, just imagine this garden and these leafy, beautiful plants. And then there's just these few that look a little sad because they missed a day's water. Our meditation practice is very much just like that garden. We arrive and we show up and we tend to the things that we need here in this moment today. We become a little more aware. We learn how to be a little more still. We learn how to listen and really accept where we are in this moment. And then as we grow quiet, we begin to understand some of the patterns of our thoughts that we need to be aware of, we need to be careful of. And through it all, we learn a little more about ourselves. But then there are days that we don't show up and we skip because life is busy and something pulls us away, or we're tired, or we're distracted. And it's not about feeling guilty about those things. But it's kind of like when I got out to the garden this morning and I paused and I looked at those leaves and I just knew. I knew why they looked wilted. I knew exactly what had caused it. So let's just picture these days when we don't show up for ourselves. We're not on that cushion or in that spot. We're not pausing and becoming quiet and still. And then all of a sudden the next day comes and we look around at this life that we have and we see our version of wilted spinach leaves. There's maybe been impatience or shortness in our temper, or we needed to extend grace to ourselves or to someone else and we didn't. And all of a sudden, when those things become very evident to us, we pause and we think, oh, I haven't been on my cushion or in my spot for my quiet time in a few days. And all of a sudden we realize how incredibly important that daily practice is. And some of us are there to the point that it is a daily. Some of us are still working toward that. And so maybe you substitute the word daily for regular and consistent. My garden needs regular and consistent watering, regular and consistent weeding and tending. And so does my spirit. And so don't worry about the days that have already passed, that we've missed the moment to sit and be present and to pause. Let's honor this moment that we have come to now. Because I can tell you, as I began to spray those leaves this morning, in a matter of minutes, they were back to normal. Standing tall, reaching toward the sun, looking just as they did a couple days before. So let's think of this moment here in our meditation practice as we're just watering and tending and weeding the places of our lives that need it. And so I'd like for each of us just to sit quietly, just for the next moment or so, and then we'll come back and we'll share a tiny bit more. But just reflect, be open, see what is revealed about this garden of your life, the places that need a little more consistent, regular tending and watering. Don't make a list. Just stay open and aware and see what is revealed as you breathe in and breathe out. And just continue to sit there with as much stillness in your body and in your spirit and your mind as you can. And I want to take that metaphor of the garden and extend it just a bit. Because, we plant things and we expect certain things to come from these efforts. And when I plant spinach, I expect spinach to grow. And when I plant peppers, I expect that flower to begin to turn into this tiny little pepper. And then on the other side, I expect tomatoes. And so what I have learned in my experience in gardening and tending is that I get what I plant. The same thing happens in our meditation practice. I get what I plant. And if I show up to meditation and I plant seeds of peace and stillness and quiet and acceptance without judgment, that's what I'm going to get in the fruit of my life. But if I show up and I'm critical of myself and I get frustrated, that's what I'm going to get in the fruit of my life as well. So this practice of ours, it has so much to teach. And what I will tell you is that as it becomes consistent and regular, not daily maybe, but consistent and regular, you'll start to crave it more. Just like when I go out to that garden, one bed has now morphed into 5 over the years because I just want more of that in my life. I want to have more opportunities to tend and to weed and to water and to grow. And I want the same thing in my life. So I'd like for each of us, as we sit for these next couple moments of quiet, to think, where can I bring more consistency into my meditation practice? Maybe for some of you, you're ready to think about multiple times during your day. Maybe for some, just more consistent at the same time. And sometimes you show up with me, and sometimes you show up with someone else. Sometimes you show up with just you, or with the birds that are singing in the backyard. It doesn't matter the where or the when. It just matters that you show up. And you pause. And you let the day, all the other 1,400 minutes, just sit and wait. And you spend a few minutes with you. So let's just think, as we sit here for these next couple of minutes of quiet, where else can I bring consistency to this practice of mine? Because I know if I ask you what kind of fruit you want to harvest, you'd all say peace and compassion and stillness and stability and ease and calm. And so let's spend more of our days, more of our minutes of our days, cultivating that. So let's just sit quietly, each of us in our own space, and see in your mind what arises as a potential more consistent practice for you. Just allow your attention just to come back to the space that we're sharing together. But let your body stay as still and as relaxed as possible, so that your heart and your spirit can stay still and relaxed as well. But as the mind becomes aware of the space that we're sharing together, just see what was revealed. Where could you get more consistent? Maybe that alarm on your phone needs to come at a different time during the day. Maybe you add a time at lunch or right before you leave the house for work. You just pause for 5 minutes. There's no magical amount of time. There's no magical space. Meditation occurs wherever you are. You don't have to go to the mountaintop or in a cave. It happens inside of you, at the office, at your desk, in your car, anywhere that you are. This practice comes with you. And so, like my garden, let's tend to ourselves consistently and regularly. Don't let your spinach or whatever part of your life that needs to be taken care of, don't let it wilt. Show up for you. Namaste.